Good morning, students. I, Mrs. V.A. Yavle, Assistant Professor in Department of Electrical Engineering, today would be discussing with you all the concepts of demand and supply. Before taking these concepts, let's see what are the points of discussion for today. We would be seeing concept of demand and supply, elastic demand, inelastic demand, unit elastic demand, determination of price elasticity, and elasticity and revenue. Demand is an economic principle referring to a consumer's desire to purchase goods and services and willingness to pay a price for a specific good or service. Holding all other factors constant, an increase in the price of a good or service will decrease the quantity demanded and vice versa. You can see this in the figure which is shown below. On the x-axis, we are considering the quantity. On the y-axis, we are considering the price. As increase in the price of a good, the service will decrease the quantity demanded. So always we have the demanded curve will be of this type or the drooping nature, right? As the price lowers, the quantity goes on increasing, which you can see. And if the price increases, the quantity that is demanded is going to go on decreasing. Supply is a fundamental economic concept that describes the total amount of a specific good or service that is available to consumers. Supply can relate to the amount available at a specific price or the amount available across a range of prices if displayed on the graph. So it is very clear from this graph, which you can see. If I take on the x-axis the quantity supplied and on the y-axis the price, as the quantity goes on increasing, obviously that is the quantity supplied goes on increasing, the price also goes on increasing. So generally we expect a linear curve for the law of supply. Now what will happen when the price will increase? Obviously the supply is increasing. And what will happen if the price decreases? The supply also decreases. There's a new concept now, elasticity of demand and supply, right? If we consider it in terms of the formula, it is very simple formula which says that it is the ratio of percentage change in quantity demanded to percentage change in price. So I'll just read out the definition. It says that it is the ratio of percentage change in quantity demanded to percentage change in the price. The elastic demand comes into picture when the price elasticity is greater than -1. We are ignoring the negative sign here. That is when the percentage change in quantity demanded exceeds the change in price. So I have taken an example here. If the quantity demanded falls by 7% in response to a 5% increase in price, then the change or the elasticity is given by -7 divided by 5, which gives you -1 by 4. So I hope now you can understand the concept of this negative sign. In elastic demand, when the price elasticity lies between -1 and 0, that is when the percentage change in quantity demanded is smaller than the change in price. In that case, we call it as a inelastic demand. See, if we can take an example, if the quantity demanded falls by 3.5% in response to a 5% increase in price, the elasticity by the formula that I have told you earlier comes out to be -3.5 divided by 5, which gives you -0.7. In such a case, the demand is said to be inelastic. Similarly, we have a concept of unit elastic demand. The demand is said to be unit elastic when the price elasticity is exactly -1. That is when the percentage change in quantity demanded is equal to the change in the price. So I have again taken an example. Let's suppose that if quantity demanded falls by 5%, in response to a 5% increase in price, elasticity will always be -1, equal to -1, and so it will be called as unit elastic demand. If we have a linear drooping demand curve, the price elasticity will always vary along the length of a straight line demand curve. See, if you can see this straight line demand curve, I have considered a linear demand curve. On x-axis, I have the quantity demanded, on y-axis, I have the price. So exactly at the center point, I'll have the unit elasticity. Lower to that will be the inelastic demand curve, and upper to that will give me the elastic demand curve, which I had already covered with the earlier example that I have taken. Now, what actually determines the price elasticity? Yes, this is very important, right? The price elasticity is something in which the consumers, they have a flexibility to decide which good they want to take. See, I've given an example. Suppose consumers can readily substitute one brand of detergent for another if the price rises. Obviously, let's suppose now if you are using or if your mother is using, let's say, Tide detergent, then we can replace it, right, to Ariel or something else, provided what is the price for that we are paying for same 1 kilogram packet of the Tide. But here one thing is very important. It is, we expect the demand to be elastic, but if all detergent prices rise, then the consumer cannot switch, and so we expect the demand to be inelastic. Simultaneously, for all the brands, if the price is increasing, then it becomes difficult. Okay, so then the consumer cannot switch over the different goods. Generally, elasticity is higher in the long run. Okay. See, in short run, what happens is consumers may not be able to adjust their pattern of expenditure. If price changes persist, consumers are more likely to adjust. Therefore, we usually say that demand is more elastic in the long run and relatively inelastic in the short run. That is how the markets actually function. Elasticity and the revenue concept, right? See, I have just made a small comparison. Demand is going to be elastic when the total revenue decreases, right? And for a price, if it decreases, the total revenue is going to increase. The case considered is when the demand is elastic. When the demand is unit elastic, the total revenue will not change even if the price increases. And if the price decreases also, it will not change. Why? Because the demand is unit elastic. If the demand is inelastic, the total revenue increases with the price increasing, and the total revenue decreases with the price decreasing. Okay. So these are this one is the earlier graph which I had explained. With respect to total revenue, right? The second graph is being explained. So it says that if for a price fall, if the demand is elastic in nature, revenue from new sales will exceed the fall in revenue from existing sales. And so total revenue will rise, right? Total revenue will increase. It will go on increasing. But if the demand is inelastic, revenue from new sales will be less than the fall in revenue from existing sales, and total revenue will fall. See, I had just drawn these two figures. You can just see if I take this section in which the demand is inelastic. So see what is happening to total revenue. The total revenue has slowly started decreasing. If I consider the demand to be elastic, then we'll see that the total revenue is slowly rising or it is increased. Okay. According to this, we then determine the normal and the inferior goods. A normal good has a positive income elasticity of demand. An increase in income leads to an increase in the quantity demanded. Example, we can say the dairy produce and all. An inferior good has a negative income elasticity of demand. Maybe example, we can say coal, oil fuels and all. And a luxury good has an income elasticity of demand greater than 1. For example, wine, etc., which is a luxury item. So see, now if I compare the income and the demand curve for normal goods, the demand curve will move towards the right, when it is a normal goods. And for inferior goods, the demand curve will move towards the left side because the quantity demanded will obviously reduce according to the quality of the good. So I hope students that you have understood the concept of demand and supply, and also what is the importance of elasticity of demand and how it actually affects the price, and finally how it is related to inferior and good quality or normal goods, and that is how the whole market works around this concept. So thank you for your patience listening. Thank you very much.